Welcome to another episode of Mastering Cybersecurity, developed by baremetalcyber.com. Let's dive in. Logging and monitoring turn hidden system behavior into facts that people can study, compare, and trust. Logging records discrete events as they happen, while monitoring observes patterns over time and highlights conditions that matter. Together, they answer two connected questions: what exactly happened, and how significant is it right now? The combination helps small teams and large enterprises notice misuse, confirm normal operations, and reconstruct timelines after incidents. Clear records reduce disputes during audits and reduce guesswork during stressful investigations. When managed deliberately, these practices become a quiet safety net that strengthens every other security control. Clarity starts with shared vocabulary that links actions to evidence and decisions. An event is a notable action or state change, and a log entry is the recorded representation of that event. A metric is a numeric measurement sampled over time, while a trace follows a single request as it moves across components. An alert is a notification produced when a defined rule, threshold, or pattern is met. Telemetry is the broader stream of logs, metrics, and traces that a system emits. Logging captures ground truth. Monitoring evaluates the stream for significance, and observability integrates both so causes and effects can be explained quickly. Structure is what makes entries searchable, comparable, and trustworthy across teams and tools. Every record needs an accurate timestamp and an explicit time zone, ideally synchronized through Network Time Protocol (NTP) on every host and service. Severity levels such as informational, warning, and error help triage mixed streams under pressure. Consistent field names, correlation identifiers, and request identifiers allow events from many systems to be linked reliably. Formats like syslog and JavaScript Object Notation (JSON) should be applied consistently so parsers work the same way everywhere. Small structure decisions made early will save hours during high-stakes investigations later. Moving data from sources to a platform requires dependable plumbing and simple safeguards. Agent-based collection runs a lightweight process on hosts for reliable shipping and buffering, while agent-less approaches rely on built-in exporters, syslog forwarding, or application programming interface (API) pulls. Cloud-native pipelines can stream audit events directly to centralized storage with automatic scaling. Buffers and queues absorb spikes so important records are not lost during busy periods or network issues. Transport Layer Security (TLS) protects log streams in transit, and back-off with retries avoids overwhelming fragile endpoints. Health checks verify that inputs are flowing and that gaps are noticed quickly. Monitoring transforms raw visibility into timely, meaningful signals that prompt the right actions. Baselines describe normal patterns for traffic, authentication, errors, and resource consumption across typical days and weeks. Thresholds and detection rules flag deviations that matter, from repeated failed logins to unusual data transfer volumes. Dashboards provide situational awareness for ongoing health, while alerts demand attention because they imply risk or disruption. A simple scenario helps. A service error rate rises above the usual evening baseline, and a targeted alert notifies the on-call team with links to the relevant logs. Clear intent makes actions predictable during uncertain moments. Alert quality determines whether people trust the system or quietly ignore it when busy. Noise reduction starts with precise scopes, well-chosen thresholds, and rules that reference multiple signals for context. False positives steal time and erode trust, while false negatives conceal real trouble until consequences appear elsewhere. Severity and priority levels align notifications with expected response timelines and business impact. Routing rules send critical alerts to the correct on-call channel with escalation if no one acknowledges promptly. Regular review removes stale rules, merges duplicates, and clarifies messages so responders understand both the issue and the first diagnostic step. Logs are the backbone of investigation and recovery when incidents occur and stakes rise quickly. Triage begins by grouping related alerts, validating reality, and collecting supporting entries from nearby systems. Enrichment adds host details, user roles, geolocation hints, and asset tags so actions are viewed in context rather than isolation. A Security Operations Center, SOC, uses the enriched stream to assemble a precise timeline that explains what happened before, during, and after the trigger. Evidence is preserved in write-once storage with documented chain of custody to maintain integrity. Good records shorten investigations and strengthen post-incident learning. Modern environments demand visibility across cloud, containers, software platforms, and endpoints without leaving blind spots. Cloud providers produce detailed audit logs for resource changes, identity actions, and policy updates that reveal unintended exposure. Container platforms and Kubernetes emit workload events, scheduler decisions, and network policy outcomes that explain lateral movement or disruption. Software-as-a-service applications provide administrative and user audit trails that clarify permission grants and sensitive data access. Endpoint detection and response, EDR, and extended detection and response, XDR, add process, file, and network telemetry from laptops and servers. Together, these streams create end-to-end traceability across hybrid estates. Governance keeps useful data available, private, and affordable over months and years of operations. Retention goals match investigative needs, regulatory expectations, and budget limits so important history remains reachable. Hot storage supports fast searches for recent weeks, while cold storage preserves longer history for compliance, trend studies, and rare investigations. Access controls and role-based access control, RBAC, restrict who can view sensitive entries that may include credentials, tokens, or configuration secrets. Privacy and data minimization protect personal identifiable information, PII, and align with regulations such as the General Data Protection Regulation, GDPR. Clear governance avoids surprise gaps when answers are urgently required. Measuring outcomes helps teams tune pipelines, justify investments, and focus improvement efforts where they matter. Detection coverage describes how many important misuse scenarios are watched with meaningful rules. Mean time to detect, MTTD, and mean time to respond quantify how quickly issues are noticed and resolved under normal conditions. Pipeline health checks verify source freshness, ingestion success rates, and indexing latency that can hide problems behind dashboards. A recurring review turns new findings into improved rules, better enrichment, and clearer alert messages. Metrics function best when they guide specific corrections rather than general aspirations. Avoidable pitfalls often trace back to fundamentals that were postponed during busy periods. Missing time synchronization breaks correlation and makes timelines unreliable across diverse systems. Unstructured or overly verbose logs inflate costs and bury important clues beneath repetitive noise. Blind spots appear when critical services, third-party platforms, or remote endpoints are never connected to central collection. Alert fatigue grows when rules are added quickly without pruning, prioritization, or ownership. Quick wins include enabling built-in cloud audit streams, enforcing NTP, adopting a common field schema, and trimming debug logs that add cost without investigative value. A dependable practice grows by starting focused, proving value, and expanding coverage with intent. Choose a core set of sources that represent identity, critical applications, and network boundaries. Then verify that entries are timestamped, structured, and searchable. Build 2 or 3 detections linked to real risks and refine them until responders trust the signal. Establish weekly checks for source freshness, indexing delays, and alert review so pipelines stay healthy. Document small results and lessons as short runbooks for future responders and maintainers. Steady progress produces confidence that stands up during difficult incidents. Over time, better visibility reshapes how operations, security, and development collaborate during uncertain moments. Shared dashboards and consistent queries create a common view that reduces debate and speeds triage. Teams begin to predict how changes will appear in the logs and adjust thresholds when legitimate patterns evolve. Post-incident reviews connect specific log gaps to rule improvements and targeted source onboarding. Leaders gain clearer trend lines for incident frequency, detection speed, and recurrent failure modes across services. The practice becomes a loop that continually clarifies cause and effect rather than a one-time project. Simplicity remains an enduring advantage as systems, people, and vendors change across seasons. Fewer formats, fewer collectors, and fewer dashboards make maintenance easier and training shorter. Plain, structured fields and well-named rules communicate intent clearly to new team members. Documentation that lists sources, schemas, and alert owners prevents confusion when people rotate roles. Regular housekeeping removes dead sources and stale rules so important signals stay visible. Small routine care prevents large, surprising failures that always seem to arrive at inconvenient times. Resilience increases when log records and alerts are tied to clear recovery actions rather than isolated observations. Playbooks describe the first diagnostic commands, the data to capture, and the safe rollback steps for common scenarios. Versioned queries and rules track changes alongside service releases so explanations match current designs. Test cases for detections verify that alerts still fire after changes to infrastructure or software. Sandboxes allow safe tuning of rules and pipelines without interrupting real operations. These habits make the difference between alarms that create anxiety and evidence that supports calm, decisive work. Strong visibility also supports compliance without turning investigations into paperwork exercises disconnected from reality. Retention settings demonstrate that required history exists, while access logs show that sensitive entries were viewed appropriately. Reports summarize alert response times and rule coverage for defined risks that stakeholders understand. Evidence packs include copies of policies, example log records, screenshots of queries, and dates with sign-offs from accountable owners. When everyday practice naturally produces this proof, audits become confirmation rather than discovery. The same capability that detects misuse is the capability that explains control effectiveness. As maturity grows, teams can expand from reactive detection toward proactive learning grounded in the same data. Trend analysis shows slow drifts in error rates, latency, and authentication patterns that hint at design issues. Hypothesis-driven hunts explore plausible attacker behaviors and verify whether rules would have caught them. New services are onboarded with standard schemas and baseline detections before traffic increases. Insights from investigations influence design reviews so future systems emit richer, more useful records. The pipeline becomes an engine for improvement rather than only an emergency instrument. Logging and monitoring form the nervous system that connects cause to effect across modern technology. Structured records, synchronized time, dependable pipelines, and focused detections create reliable visibility when conditions deteriorate. Centralization, enrichment, and measured alerting produce fast understanding without overwhelming busy responders. Governance protects privacy and budgets while keeping essential history available for learning and compliance. Starting with a small, trustworthy core and improving steadily builds confidence that lasts. The result is dependable detection and response grounded in facts rather than assumptions. Thanks for listening. For more audio courses, daily newsletters, and more, please visit baremetalcyber.com.